Hello and welcome to this guide. Today is all about Gnar, because it got recently buffed and maybe now new Gnar players try this champ the first time, or maybe old Gnar players return to the champ and now don't know what to build or buy. Then maybe this guide will help you. I base all of my information and ideas on data, so keep that in mind. And at the end of the video, I will show you a new build for Gnar, which Korean Gnar OTP at Grandmasters or Masters is using currently. So stay tuned for that. So here is buffs: base damage slow on his Q, his E range got decreased, his attack speed duration also got increased on his hop, on his mini Gnar form. So they are not really at AD ratio buffs or something like that. So we can arguably use also the data from the last patch for sure. So let's hop into it. First, I want to show you the runes. There are a lot of different rune options you have with Gnar. You can either go for fleet if you want the sustain in the lane. It's especially good against ranged matchups for sure. Or if you trade a lot and you really need the sustain. For example, there's Tryndamere, I saw him often use it, or stuff like Kale or something like that. Fleet is very, very good. Here are all the fleet options you have. The other runes are pretty much always the same. You see the win rates and just pick whatever works for you. Then we have the Grasp. Grasp is very interesting. It's a very good rune. You see 50% to 46. I mean, it was last patch, but as I mentioned, they didn't really change anything huge about that. So we can still use this data. Grasp, very high win rate compared to Fleet. I would recommend go Grasp. Here you see all the Grasp rune pages. I would recommend Grasp if you are against a melee champ which is preferable more tanky and don't have that much trade or early damage against you. Stuff like Maoka, Nasus. I also saw him against the Silas use this rune page. Yeah. Then we have the Conqueror setup, which he runs, and I want to mention that especially because it's very, very interesting, at least in my opinion, but we will get over there later. And then we have to press the tag. I would just go press the tag if you're very, very comfortable with your matchups and you really know the limits of a champ. I wouldn't recommend it for new Gnar players. So I would basically, for new Gnar players, take Fleet if you need it. Grasp is the better rune choice overall. And if you want to try something new, go for the Conqueror, which I will show you later. And then let's see the build paths. So arguably there are a lot of different choices. Either you go Trinity or you go Divine Thunder. It's I think matchup dependent in my opinion. Go Divine Thunder if you're against a tanky team. Then you will probably also go for the Grasp. And if you really can make use of a mini Gnar form a lot and really trade a lot and harass them a lot, and Trinity is quite good. Also, I mean, you see it in the data. Either you go Trinity or Divine Thunder. You won't do anything wrong with that mythic for sure. And yeah, for boots, real quick, whatever you need. If they're AD heavy, then ninjas. If they have a lot of CC, then buy mercs. And the second item is probably most of the time Black Cleaver. You see that here. I would argue Black Cleaver is a second item for sure on Gnar. Third item, Sterax, Deathman's Blade. You can buy a Thormel, you can buy Randuins. There is a lot of different choices what you can build afterwards. just build accordingly to the enemy team composition. If they have a lot of AP, buy MR. If they have a lot of AD, buy armor. You can stack HP. You can buy even a Titanic Hydra if you want more damage. But then you have to stack some HP more to make use of that even more. I wouldn't recommend Blade in this patch. I mean, there are some players who build it, but I'm not that big of a fan of it. I mean, it's sure good in the side lane and in the 1v1, but I think Gnar should be built more as the team-oriented playmaker engage. But yeah, that's just my thoughts, as I mentioned earlier. And now we have this guy. He's currently master in Korea. He's a Gnar main with 900,000 points, over 900,000 points, and he opts for the Goredrinker. That is very interesting, and he also nearly always goes for Conqueror. So he plays more the Bruiser Gnar with the lifesteal, and that's very interesting, I think. And if you want to try something new, go for it. I played it self. I played it myself once, and it really felt quite good. Obviously, the Goredrinker is an amazing item in general, but it gives the haste, it gives the HP, it gives the attack damage, you get the passive haste. It's more about the Mega Gnar for sure. The Mini Gnar is not that good with Goredrinker, so. But as I said, I think Gnar is more the team-oriented tank engage, so Goredrinker is very, very good. The passive haste is very, very nice. And as you see, he most of the time goes then Black Cleaver second, as you see here. One time he goes for Spirit Visage because they are AP heavy. Then here he don't even finish his second item. Here he went for the Black Cleaver because, I mean, in general, Black Cleaver is the core second item. But if they're very AP heavy or AD heavy, you can build accordingly. And as a third item, most of the time he ends for the Spirit Visage or for the Formal in general. So if you want to try this build, go for the Conqueror rune setup. As I showed, have I showed it? I quickly show it again because it would be tragic if I didn't mention that. Here are the Conqueror runes. Quick, yeah, and then you build Goredrinker into Black Cleaver, and then if they're AD heavy, a Formal, if they're AP heavy, a Spirit Visage, and then the other item most of the time. I hope you liked the Gnar guide. I hope you quite enjoyed also the new build I mentioned. And we will see in the next video. Bye.